Okay, so for the testing guide, you guys all got a link to this in your email, and then I sent it to you also in Remind. There's a couple of things to go through. One is the exam day checklist. The second is what required documents you're going to have on hand for our test, and then what you're allowed to have, and then talking about the testing demo and stuff. So you're going to get an email 2 days before each test, and each one is going to give you an e-ticket. And these are really important. If you are not getting the College Board emails, you can get these e-tickets from the AP Classroom. But you should go in AP Classroom and verify your email is correct on all that, because it's probably easier to get your e-ticket from your email. So it's going to look like this, and then it's going to have your AP ID and then your time. It's really important you pay attention to the fact that the times are often stated in Eastern Standard Time, and you need to adjust that for our time zone, which is -3 hours. So if it says a 2:30 exam, we are testing at 11:30. So that's one of the things they want you to do, is go through and make sure you know exactly what time you're going to be testing for all of your exams. Because you don't want to miss it because of your just not knowing the time. And then you'll just click on the email when it says go to exam. It's important that you start 30 minutes before your test. I believe ours is at 11. And so at 10:30, you want to be signing on. And because you have to go through a bunch of security protocols. Yeah, here it is. So our exam is statistics here, Friday, May 22nd, and it's at 11 a.m. So you're going to want to sign on at 10:30 and go through the security protocols, because you won't get extra time. You get from 11 to 11:45 or however long they have for it. You're not going to get extra time if you start the security protocol at 11. So you don't want that to cut into your response time. So if you have any of these exams that are starting at 9 a.m., you want to make sure you set a timer or an alarm and get yourself up in time, because I know you're probably not awake before 8 o'clock. So get yourself ready for that and set your alarms in your phones for these different tests. If something happens and you can't take the test, they will automatically send you a new e-ticket for the June testing date. So you don't have to do anything if you miss it. It'll automatically send you a new ticket if you don't take the one on in the May dates. The June dates there's less June dates, and so there's more conflict. So you want to try to do the May tests, because there's more than one test on each day in the June testing, or at each time. So again, make sure you're paying attention to our time zone. It's going to be 11 a.m. It's going to be 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. Those are the 3 testing times for our time zone. One thing that I thought was really good to know is that it's not going to be more difficult or less difficult to get a 3, 4, or 5 this year. You don't have to worry about the test being easier or harder. They're really trying to make it equivalent in your ability to get those scores. The exam grades they're not on a curve, so it's not like only 10% get a 5. There's a maximum cutoff score. Like we said, it was like, I think it's 65 for a 5 in AP Stats. Obviously, there's not that many points now, so but it's not going to be harder to get those scores. And another thing was, you don't have to worry if you aren't able to complete the question. Then you can still get a 5 even if you aren't able to finish them all. There's lots of different parts to it, and sometimes they gave a lot of information so that you can give some. You can find what you know and give them that information. So don't freak out if you don't finish all parts of the question. We have 2 questions in ours. If you don't get a score of 3 or higher, you can actually request a review, and they'll review your score. And I think I'm able to look at that, and then I can request it if I think your score should have been higher. So that's something that's only this year. That's never something that's been allowed before. So how to upload your tests or your responses. Basically, you're going to want to have a couple windows open on your computer. You're going to want to have the testing window open, and then you're going to want to have Word or paper, whatever it is, your document, your word processing. There is a little tutorial about how to do formulas and stuff, but you will not have to create a graph for this exam. And they made that clear for stats that you're not going to be asked to make a graph. So if you want to type your responses, that's okay. There will be, you can use equation editor in Microsoft. So, what baby? I know. Well, you need to take her. See, here she is. Baby. Here's the baby. Distracted. Okay, you need to take her. Okay. So you can either handwrite it and then take a picture of it and upload it. You don't have to take the test on your phone to do that. If you're taking the test on your phone, there's going to be a lot of scrolling up and down on that tiny screen, and you probably don't want to do that. You could practice taking a picture, sending it to your computer, and then uploading it from there. Like, if you think you're going to handwrite it, I would practice that process to see if that takes a long time or not. Like, if you're working on an Apple computer, airdropping is pretty quick. And so you could airdrop a picture of your handwritten response and then see how long that takes. You have 5 minutes to upload your responses.
So I did the demo this morning, and I sent myself pictures. I just emailed it to myself, and it was really fast.
Okay, so that worked too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to take pictures, email it to yourself, and then upload it, as long as you think you can get that done in the 5-minute time frame, then that's a good way to go, as opposed to trying to take the test on your phone and then taking the picture and uploading it from there, because the phone is such a small screen. They did mention that you'd be like scrolling up and down to see all the information. And then I'll pull up a Word file and show you the equation editor if you haven't seen that before, because you probably aren't going to have to do much. Like, think about showing your work. Probability calculations probably aren't that hard to do on Word. Even like a z-score calculation, we shouldn't take that long to do in an equation editor. So that's, but again, it's up to you how you want to do it. So this is an important part of the practice exam, is figuring out how you're going to want to do each test. And each question can be different. You can do a typed response for one question, and then you can upload a handwritten response for another question. So depending on what the question is, if it's not going to require calculations and a lot of written math type, then it might be easier to just type your response in there. And it doesn't have to be consistent for both questions. You can change your formatting. So those are the 3 ways that you're going to be able to submit your answers. They want you to make sure ahead of time that you open up a document and like have it saved, because you need to have your AP ID and your initials at the top of the page. And even if you're handwriting the responses, you need to have that written out on the page. So they want you to pre-load that, just like we used to go to the library and we used to pre-bubble everything. They want you to do that basically right in your AP on your scratch paper that you're going to take a picture of. Put those in a Word file that you just have to open up the day of the test so that you're ready to go. There is a timer displayed, but it's not going to like go off with an alarm if you have like when you have 5 minutes left. So you have to be watching the timer. You might want to set yourself an alarm on your phone just to kind of like go off and remind you, okay, I have 5 minutes left. I need to wrap it up. And then when the time is done, it'll give you the time to, it'll give you the 5 minutes to upload. You can't, if you don't submit your work in time, you don't get a chance to take it again in June. Like if you just ran out of time and you kept working and didn't submit it within that 5 minutes, there is no like, oops, I messed up, can I retake it in June? Now, if you have issues like your internet goes down, your computer dies, and you can't get back on and finish, then you can request to retake the test in June. So if you have like technical issues or your family interrupts you and you can't finish in time, then you can request a makeup in June for those reasons if you have technical difficulties. Let's see, we don't need to worry about those two. Requesting a makeup exam. If something like that happens, you're going to go to this website, cb.org, request makeup, fill out the form. There is no call center, so you just fill out that form and then they'll issue you a new e-ticket when it is time. The exam screen is going to guide you step by step through the process. Things they want you to make sure you know, make sure you have the right contact information, make sure you've checked the colleges you want your scores to go to. You have a deadline for that, and then after that you have to pay. Make sure your computer is going to work. That's the point of the practice test, is make sure that the device you're going to be using the day of the test is going to be working. There is some plugin, I think it shows later on, Grammarly. If you have Grammarly, you need to disable it. It will not work with the Grammarly plugin. I think that's used for writing essays. Yeah, I don't know. I don't write essays anymore. So, and then practice submitting it. We want to make sure that you have your tables and your formulas for the test. Print those, open them up in a different screen on your computer, have the files saved if you don't want to print them. But you need to make sure you have those tables. You might be expected to use them. And then make sure you have your email correct. So make sure you have the correct email. Make sure your tech is working. Make sure you have the documents, and it'll show, I think down here later on, we can grab those. Prepare your documents, whether it's a Word file with your name or or your ID number, or it's like lined paper. They want white 8.5 by 11 inch paper with your name on it, number 2 pencil, black or blue ink. Those are the 3 things. Don't write in purple or red. And then they say there's a maximum of like 5 pages that you would need. Just because there's a maximum of 5 pages does not mean it should take you 5 pages to answer. Remember our 3 C's: clear, complete, concise, 4 C's, and in context. Concise. You don't need to go rambling on about the answer, okay? Especially for AP Stats. They don't expect you to actually take 5 pages. And then use the practice test. And here's things we need. Okay, so here's statistics. Your formula sheet and tables. There's a keyboarding tip sheet, and then you may have your calculator. Speaking of calculators, when you do your checkout and you make your appointment to return your textbooks, they will also be collecting your calculators. I have everybody's calculator serial number and whether you checked out a cord or a brick. If you lost your calculator, the goal is for you to buy one to replace it so that we don't have to go through the whole purchased order crap to get a new one. So hopefully you didn't lose it though, because you'll be asked to check those in when you check in your textbooks. Mr. Stevens, the assistant principal, has everybody's information on that. So let's see. I think did I send you the tables and stuff already?
Yes,
Did I send those in Remind?
they're in the Remind, yeah.
Okay, I thought so. So you can download them from there, or it doesn't have a, these aren't links. Why aren't these links? I'll have to figure that out in a sec. Those are all the other tests. Now, here's something that's unprecedented for an AP exam. You may have your class notes or study guides in front of you. You can have your textbook. You can have any notes that I've given you in class. You can have previous assignments or assessments in front of you. You may have your calculator. If you have a shared study notes, you have to have your own version of it downloaded to your computer or printed. You're not allowed to have a shared document open during the exam. Know that internet searches are a waste of your time and will be put at risk of exam violation. Basically, if you can quickly search the information on the internet, it's not going to help your score. So internet-based facts, research, and opinions aren't relevant to the exam. It won't raise your score. Copying from websites will cause plagiarism. Social media, online forums will cause your scores to be canceled. But basically it's open note, open book. Expect your exam ticket on May 20th for AP Stats, 2 days before each exam. And today I thought I would just go through the practice test with you and see how that goes. Now there's this checklist. This is what, for you want to write down your AP ID. That's really important. It's going to need to be on each document that you upload. Your different exams and the times, you need to make sure you have all those. And then here's a quick checklist to go through to make sure you're ready for the test. Things you need to know on the day of the test, during the exam, and then after the exam. They'll have your deadline for picking the college programs it goes to is June 20th. And the test scores, I think, will be up on like July 15th or something. It's going to take a little bit longer because everybody's grading them from home. Let's see. Day of the exam. So our test is 2 questions. The first question is 25 minutes, and then you get 5 minutes to submit your response. When you submit, if it's still uploading, it will upload in the background when it's time to do the next question. So you don't have to worry about like a completed upload before you start the next question. It's designed so that it will upload in the background, so you don't have to wait for that. And then the second question is 15 minutes. And then you get 5 minutes to submit that. Do your best to give yourself a good testing environment where you can focus. Try to have your parents, siblings, animals away from you so you're not distracted and bothered by them. Make sure your devices are plugged in so you don't run out of power. And if you have like limited internet, basically kick your siblings off of their Xbox and their Netflix while you're taking the test so you don't have any issues with that. With uploading and streaming what you need to be doing. Have your checklist and any documents you need next to you or open on a different tab. Let's see. There's all these security issues. You can read that yourself. I sent this to you. If you know about cheating, you can report cheating. Check in 30 minutes, and then beforehand, here's an example of handwritten work where you have your ID at the top and your initials. And then make sure you're managing your time. You're going to see a screen like this. But it's not going to like beep or anything when it's out of time, I don't think. If anything goes wrong, you can request a makeup. Don't call, use the website, and just let me know if something happens and you forget what to do. I'll help you. Scores will be given to you by July 15th. Colleges are all very supportive of this AP exam administration. Lots of different colleges have said that they're going to accept credit as usual. So here's some different colleges that have said, yes, no worries, we'll take it. You can't, oh, here's a big one. You cannot use Internet Explorer. You have to use Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or Microsoft Edge. It will not work with Internet Explorer, so you need a different browser if that's the one you use still. You have to disable any browser plugins such as Grammarly. Let's see. And that's all that information. Any questions so far? No? So let's look at,
Wait, I have a question.
yeah.
How do we send our scores again to a college?
I'm sorry, what?
How do we pick where we want to send our scores?
I think you go into AP, assign it to my AP.
Uh-huh.
And there's somewhere in your profile that you indicate what colleges you want it to go to.
Okay.
After June 20th, they charge you a fee.
Okay.
Okay, so sign into my AP and there's somewhere to do that. Maybe in your profile. I'm not sure exactly because I don't see that when I log into AP.
Yeah.
So here's the practice test. When you go in, you should have gotten an email that has this link. If not, I will send it to you. Practice exam, hold on. All right, so that's done. And then you just type in practice. And get started. Wait, what the heck? What did it just do? Oh, okay. So then you're going to put in your information. Well, let me go to step 2. Let's see. And how old I am again. And then you're going to select what you're testing from. You're testing from home, where you're testing from, and then you have to agree to the conditions. And then it tells you what time they're going to start. And then here are your different options for photos, copy and paste. So if you're going to select a photo, here are the guidelines. And then you want to take it from overhead. You want to make sure you have your ID at the top with your initials. And then it's going to let me actually do it. Text files should be in Word. What the heck, where do I actually practice that?
You have to wait until your practice exam starts.
Oh.
So
Oh,
we have
3 more
like
minutes?
3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, well, while that's running, let me see. Let's let's see. Let me stop the share real quick and pull up Word. Have you guys used Word to type in equations before?
No.
Okay. So
I
let
plan
me,
on writing mine.
yeah, handwriting.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you plan on handwriting, that's fine. But let me just show you real quick where you can get that. It's kind of helpful to know just in general. In Word, you go to Insert, and then you go to Equation. And you just hit Equation, and then it brings this up for you. So say I was going to type in my z-score. I would write z equals, and I'd bring up a fraction bar. And then I'd put in my numbers like 14 minus 16 divided by, and if I wanted, say, another fraction in the denominator, I could add that. And I could say it was like 5 over the square root. Square root's going to be here under the radical. Square root n, let's say my sample size was 20. And so I can put it in just like that. You can also insert a different one. We're not calculus, so we don't have those. So really, that's the most you're probably going to have to do. Maybe an exponent, right? So you 0.83 to the 5th power for a probability. I can't really think of much else that would be more complicated than that. What if it was insert equation again? Let's say I wanted to do write a regression equation, and I wanted the little like hat, the y hat, right? There's a little hat here. So then I get y hat. Let me zoom in. There's the little y hat, so you could put like SAT math hat equals, 3.5 minus plus, let's say, 4.5 SAT verbal, right? So you could use that. Wait, that didn't work, huh? I don't want that all to be under the y hat. But that's under the accent. So then you hit the space, and then it only puts that underneath it. And then use the arrow over, and then the hat will be only on that. So if you wanted to type it, just insert, there's equation, it gives you all the different operations to use. You're probably going to use only these first 3 for the most part, and maybe the accents. And then I believe up in here, you can find your mu and your sigma as well. So those are up in there for you, those variables. So if you wanted to do that, that's how you would use, that's how you would use that. Let's go back over to this. Let's see. Is it time to start? Okay, so now that my thing has started, let's say I took a picture and I wanted to send it to my phone. Gosh, just pick one. If I'm using a Mac, AirDrop is probably pretty quick. I don't know where it went. There it is. So now the AirDrop picture is in my downloads, and then I can attach the response, attach a photo, and then, where'd it go? Now what? choose a method, attach photo, and then my downloads. And it doesn't like my file. It needs to be an image or a PDF. But that's generally how you could do it, or send it to yourself as an email, download it real quick. I don't know, I don't really recommend trying to do it on your phone. So, but I mean, it is up to you. I think that's all I have. Do you guys need help with content, questions on that? I've been watching the videos. Should we do a Zoom tutoring session where we go over some practice exam questions? What do you guys need from me? Nothing?
Zoom tutoring would be cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's maybe Zoom. Charlie says Zoom tutoring, please. Okay. Does this time work? Would later in the day work better? What do you think? I need some input as to time and content. What topics do you think we should go over? Why don't you send me in the remind a message saying like probability or hypothesis tests that we maybe didn't get to yet, like the 2 sample t-tests or the matched pairs t-tests. Should we go over one of those? I'll find some AP released questions that we can go over, and then we can do those together on an afternoon. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so
Yeah.
let's plan for let's do Wednesday at 2. Does that work?
Wait, supposed to pick up our signs at the school?
Yeah, but I think it's between 8 and 12.
Okay.
Yeah, it's between 8 and
Yeah,
12.
it is.
Yeah, it's morning. So let's start with Wednesday at 2. Tomorrow afternoon my kids have their golf lesson, so that doesn't work for me, and that'll give me time tomorrow to put together some materials. And I'll find an iPad I can use so that I can write out answers with you. Or maybe I'll practice typing them in just like you would on the test. So maybe I should do that. Yeah? No?
Yeah.
All 3 of you who are responding to me.
I'm gonna write my answers. I'm not gonna mess with the equation.
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Same.
I like when you write them out.
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes more sense.
Yeah. Okay, so I will send out a message and a meeting invite for Wednesday at 2 o'clock. Send me ideas, topics you want to go over, and we'll start doing some of those maybe twice a week to kind of help get you guys ready. Because our test is 2 weeks from Friday.
Yeah, I think twice a week is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, send me topics you want to go over, and let's plan to meet again on Wednesday at 2 o'clock. I mean, I can do 1:30 too. It doesn't matter.
1:30 kind of works better for me.
Okay.
So, but
1:30
anyone
is
else?
fine. That gives me time to get my kids working in the morning and then let them be lazy in the afternoon. So, okay, so Wednesday, 1:30, send me topics you want to go over in Remind. And if you guys don't have any questions, then do the practice thing. Practice submitting, throw a piece of paper together, see how that's going to work and how you're going to get it from your phone to your computer in that 5-minute time period. That's really important that you do that practice. And you can do the practice more than once. So you can go through and practice it again. Like if you're doing an English exam and you're going to type with that up, practice having that file saved and sending that in as well. You can do the practice as many times as you want. Okay. So if there's no other questions, we'll stop the meeting, and I will see you guys on Wednesday at 1:30.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.